Late night bites with friends? Already hard to beat. That first too hot bite of fries you couldn't wait for, followed by ice cold Pepsi. Now that hits different. Suddenly, the energy kicks back in, the night goes longer, and the laughs don't stop. Because Pepsi brings out more flavor, more fun, and more of the moment. Food deserves Pepsi. Grab a Pepsi Zero Sugar today.
Ultra running shoes are all about space. The space to go further, to feel better, to do something you never thought possible. And this space starts with Ultra Fit. Unlike traditional running shoes, Ultra Fit gives toes more room to move naturally, so every step is strong, balanced, and comfortable. Whatever you're lacing up for, stay out there with Ultra. Shop now at ultrarunning.com. That's ALTRA running.com.
This episode is brought to you by Facebook. So you were scrolling on Marketplace, and there it was, the bike you'd been searching for. You sent a message, and it turned out the seller was super chatty, kind of funny, and an avid cyclist. The next thing you know, you're in a cycling crew. Well, a community cycling group. The thing about Facebook, you might find more than what you're looking for. From a browse to a bike ride, this summer find more on Facebook.
Pros, find the right flooring for the job in Lowe's newly redesigned flooring showroom. Shop our expanded assortment of trusted brands and get up to 35% off style selections, Stainmaster, and Stainmaster Pet Protect Special Order Carpet. And while you're here, save $100 on a DeWalt 20-volt max 6-amp-hour 2-pack of batteries, now just $179. Get more of what you need faster and save more where it counts from the ground up. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 8/26 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Listening to this podcast instead of doom scrolling? Smart move. Another smart move? Getting help from one of State Farm's 19,000 local agents when you choose to bundle home and auto. Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Isometrics for elite athletes, tendons, strength, and staying at the top. Welcome back to the Peak Performance Podcast. I am Brad Young. We are going deeper on isometrics in this episode because after episode 1, I had so many questions about how elite athletes specifically use isometric and isometric overcoming work to get to the top and stay there that I knew we needed a dedicated follow-up. Today, we're talking about how professionals across multiple elite sports integrate isometrics into their training, why the tendon-specific adaptations of this work are so critical to athletic longevity, and I'm going to give you a complete program that shows you exactly how to use isometric training to build tendon strength and resilience that will keep you training at high levels for years longer than athletes who ignore this work. This is one of the most practically important episodes I have recorded. What you will learn today: how elite athletes across multiple sports use isometrics to maintain peak performance and extend their competitive careers. The specific science of tendon adaptation through isometric loading. How isometric overcoming work produces strength gains unavailable through dynamic training alone. And a complete isometric program for tendon and performance development. How elite athletes actually use isometrics. Let me start with something concrete. The way elite athletes actually use isometric work is quite different from the way most recreational athletes think about it. When I have conversations with strength coaches at the highest levels of sport, Olympic lifting, professional rugby, elite wrestling, and mixed martial arts, the pattern I see consistently is that isometrics serve two distinct functions at that level. The first is the function I described in episode 1, angle-specific strength development at the sticking point. The second, and in my view more commonly important function at the elite level, is maintenance and injury prevention during peak competition loading phases. Here's what I mean by that. Elite athletes in competitive season are already training at intensities and volumes that are close to the ceiling of what their recovery systems can manage. Adding significant new dynamic loading at this point is not productive. The adaptive signal gets lost in the noise of fatigue. But the nervous system and tendon health requirements do not stop during competition season just because the training load needs to be managed carefully. Isometric work at moderate intensities yielding holds at 60 to 70% of maximum voluntary contraction for 45 to 60 seconds, provides a tendon maintenance stimulus and a neuromuscular quality maintenance signal without adding significant fatigue. Elite athletes use this strategically to keep their tendons loaded and their motor units primed during competition phases, when the volume and intensity of dynamic training necessarily drops. It is one of the most sophisticated and underappreciated uses of the method. Elite athletes use isometrics in competition phases not to build strength, but to maintain tendon health and neuromuscular quality with minimal additional fatigue. That is a fundamentally different application than most people consider. The science of tendon adaptation going deeper. I introduced the science of tendon adaptation through isometrics in episode 1, but I want to go significantly deeper today because understanding the mechanism at a cellular level is what motivates the specific protocol choices that actually produce results. Tendons are composed primarily of type 1 collagen fibers arranged in a highly organized parallel pattern that gives them their tensile strength. These fibers are maintained and replaced by cells called tenocytes, which respond to mechanical loading by increasing the production of collagen and cross-linking the fibers more densely. The problem, and this is the central problem in tendon health for training athletes, is that tenocytes are relatively slow to respond and relatively slow to produce meaningful structural change compared to the satellite cells in muscle tissue that drive hypertrophy. The type of mechanical stimulus that most effectively activates tenocytes for collagen production is sustained moderate to high tensile loading, not impact loading, not rapid loading and unloading cycles. Sustained loading. This is why isometric holds are so specifically effective for tendon adaptation. The sustained, controlled tension during a 45 to 60 second yielding hold matches exactly the stimulus that tenocytes respond to most strongly. The research of Jill Cook at Australian Catholic University, who has done some of the most important work on tendinopathy and tendon adaptation, consistently demonstrates that sustained isometric loading reduces pain in reactive tendinopathies more effectively than any other loading intervention and produces measurable increases in tendon stiffness and cross-sectional area in healthy tendons undergoing training. This is not
The perfect lunch combo. That first bite of your favorite sub, followed by ice-cold Pepsi. Add a couple of friends, and now that's next level. Suddenly, the laughs get louder, the stories keep flowing, and the food tastes better. Because Pepsi brings out more flavor, more fun, and more of the moment. Food deserves Pepsi. Grab a Pepsi Zero Sugar today.
Ultra running shoes are all about space. The space to go further, to feel better, to do something you never thought possible. And this space starts with Ultra Fit. Unlike traditional running shoes, Ultra Fit gives toes more room to move naturally, so every step is strong, balanced, and comfortable. Whatever you're lacing up for, stay out there with Ultra. Shop now at ultrarunning.com. That's ALTRA running.com.
This episode is brought to you by Facebook. So you were scrolling on Marketplace, and there it was, the bike you'd been searching for. You sent a message, and it turned out the seller was super chatty, kind of funny, and an avid cyclist. The next thing you know, you're in a cycling crew. Well, a community cycling group. The thing about Facebook, you might find more than what you're looking for. From a browse to a bike ride, this summer find more on Facebook.
Pros, find the right flooring for the job in Lowe's newly redesigned flooring showroom. Shop our expanded assortment of trusted brands and get up to 35% off style selections, Stainmaster, and Stainmaster Pet Protect Special Order Carpet. And while you're here, save $100 on a DeWalt 20-volt max 6-amp-hour 2-pack of batteries. Now just $179. Get more of what you need faster and save more where it counts from the ground up. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 8/26 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
peripheral research. It is the foundation of modern tendon rehabilitation. And the reason that elite sports medicine programs have integrated isometrics so heavily into both rehabilitation and performance maintenance protocols. Tenocyte activation. Sustained isometric loading activates tenocytes, the cells responsible for collagen production, more effectively than cyclic dynamic loading at equivalent intensities. Collagen cross-linking. Consistent sustained loading over 12 to 16 weeks produces measurable increases in collagen cross-linking density, making tendons stiffer and more resistant to injury under high loads. Reactive tendinopathy. Isometric loading reduces pain and promotes healing in reactive tendinopathies by providing a safe loading stimulus that maintains tenocyte activity without aggravating inflamed tissue. Overcoming isometrics for strength unavailable through dynamic training. Let me revisit and deepen the case for overcoming isometrics as a strength development tool, because the mechanism behind why they produce strength gains unavailable through dynamic training is important enough to deserve a full treatment. In dynamic lifting, your nervous system recruits motor units in a sequence. It starts with the slow twitch, low threshold units, and adds higher threshold units as force demands increase. But it also rotates motor units to prevent fatigue, cycling units on and off throughout the duration of a lift. This is efficient and protective, but it means that the highest threshold motor units, the ones with the greatest force production capacity, are never fully and continuously recruited during a dynamic lift, even a maximal one. The overcoming isometric bypasses this rotation because there is no movement and therefore no moment during the effort when the nervous system can afford to cycle units off and rest them. You are pushing against an immovable object. The only way to continue generating the force you are trying to generate is to continue recruiting everything available. Research from labs studying voluntary activation during isometric versus dynamic efforts consistently shows that trained athletes can reach voluntary activation levels of 92 to 97% of their theoretical maximum during a maximal isometric effort versus 75 to 85% during a maximal dynamic lift. That gap, 15 to 20% more motor units firing simultaneously, is the strength gain mechanism of overcoming isometrics, and it is why athletes who add them to their programs regularly report sticking points becoming easier, competition weights feeling lighter, and strength ceiling increases that they were not able to achieve through additional dynamic work alone. The Elite Isometric Performance and Tendon Program. Here's the complete 12-week program that I use for intermediate to advanced athletes who want to use isometric training to simultaneously develop elite-level tendon health and push through strength plateaus in their primary competition lifts. This program is designed to run alongside your existing strength training, not to replace it. The isometric work supplements your dynamic training by adding targeted stimuli that your conventional programming does not provide. The program is organized into 3 4-week phases: tendon loading and baseline strength, overcoming development, and integration and performance expression. Phase 1, tendon loading and baseline. Weeks 1 through 4, 4 isometric sessions per week, 2 yielding sessions focusing on tendon loading. Each session includes 4 movements: leg press or squat hold at 90 degrees, Romanian deadlift hold at knee height, line dumbbell press hold at chest, and Nordic hamstring hold at the bottom. Each hold is 50 seconds at 60 to 65% of maximum voluntary contraction with 2 minutes rest. 2 overcoming sessions per week, 3 overcoming isometric efforts per lift, 7 seconds per effort at absolute maximum intensity. Squat, press, and pull pattern at your identified sticking point, full 5 minutes rest between overcoming efforts. Phase 2, overcoming development. Weeks 5 through 8. Increase yielding hold load to 68 to 72% of maximum voluntary contraction. Increase overcoming isometric efforts to 4 per lift per session, maintaining maximum intent for 8 seconds per effort. Begin contrast pairing on overcoming days. Within 15 seconds of each overcoming effort, perform 2 reps of the corresponding dynamic lift at 78% of 1 rep max. This is where significant performance carryover into your competition lifts typically becomes apparent.
The perfect lunch combo. That first bite of your favorite sub, followed by ice-cold Pepsi. Add a couple of friends, and now that's next level. Suddenly, the laughs get louder, the stories keep flowing, and the food tastes better. Because Pepsi brings out more flavor, more fun, and more of the moment. Food deserves Pepsi. Grab a Pepsi Zero Sugar today.
Ultra running shoes are all about space. the space to go further, to feel better, to do something you never thought possible. And this space starts with Ultra Fit. Unlike traditional running shoes, Ultra Fit gives toes more room to move naturally, so every step is strong, balanced, and comfortable. Whatever you're lacing up for, stay out there with Ultra. Shop now at ultrarunning.com. That's ALTRA running.com.
This episode is brought to you by Facebook. So you were scrolling on Marketplace, and there it was, the bike you'd been searching for. You sent a message, and it turned out the seller was super chatty, kind of funny, and an avid cyclist. The next thing you know, you're in a cycling crew. Well, a community cycling group. The thing about Facebook, you might find more than what you're looking for. From a browse to a bike ride, this summer find more on Facebook.
Pros, find the right flooring for the job in Lowe's newly redesigned flooring showroom. Shop our expanded assortment of trusted brands and get up to 35% off style selections, Stainmaster, and Stainmaster Pet Protect Special Order Carpet. And while you're here, save $100 on a DeWalt 20-volt max 6-amp-hour 2-pack of batteries. Now just $179. Get more of what you need faster and save more where it counts from the ground up. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 8/26 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Phase 3, integration and performance. Weeks 9 through 12. Reduced to 2 isometric sessions per week, 1 yielding, 1 overcoming. Increase overcoming session intensity, 5 efforts per lift at absolute maximum, 8 to 10 seconds each. Increase contrast pair load to 83% of 1 rep max. The reduced frequency allows full recovery between sessions and maximizes the quality of each effort. Test your competition lifts at the end of week 12. Most athletes see a 3 to 8% improvement in their sticking point position, which translates directly to completed competition attempts. Isometric training for specific tendon issues. I want to address something that a lot of athletes deal with and that isometric training is uniquely positioned to help with. Specific tendinopathy, patellar tendinopathy in athletes who do significant lower body training, Achilles tendinopathy in runners and jumping athletes, rotator cuff tendinopathy in pressing athletes, lateral epicondyle tendinopathy, tennis elbow in athletes who do significant grip work. These are extraordinarily common in trained populations, and they are notoriously difficult to manage because the conventional wisdom of rest and gentle stretching does not actually address the mechanical underloading that contributes to chronic tendon problems. The evidence base for isometric loading as the primary intervention in reactive tendinopathy is now strong enough that it has been adopted as the standard of care recommendation in most leading sports medicine programs. For patellar tendinopathy, the protocol is a loaded leg extension or wall side isometric hold at 60 degrees of knee flexion, not past 90 degrees, at 70% of maximum voluntary contraction for 45 seconds, 5 repetitions, once or twice daily. Pain during the hold is acceptable up to 3 or 4 out of 10. Pain above that signals too much load, reduced to 60%. For Achilles tendinopathy, a calf raise isometric hold on a flat surface, not a drop heel, at 70% effort for 45 seconds, 5 repetitions per day. The flat surface is critical. Heel drops, which were previously a common recommendation, are now understood to aggravate reactive Achilles tendinopathy more often than they help. For rotator cuff issues, external rotation and elevation isometric holds at moderate angles, not at end range. At 60 to 65% effort, provide the tendon stimulus without the impingement risk of dynamic loading through the painful arc. If you are dealing with an active tendinopathy, isometric loading at the protocol intensities described here is the first intervention to implement. Not rest, not stretching, not ice. Load the tendon with controlled, sustained isometric work at the appropriate intensity and watch what happens over 4 to 6 weeks. Long-term tendon health and athletic longevity. Let me talk about athletic longevity through the lens of tendon health, because I think this is one of the most important and least discussed topics in the performance world. The athletes who train at high levels for the longest periods, the ones competing or training seriously into their 40s and even 50s, universally share one characteristic. They have managed to accumulate enormous training age without allowing connective tissue damage to accumulate to the point where it limits their capacity. The athletes who burn out physically in their 20s and 30s are almost never stopped by muscle failure. They are stopped by tendon pathology, joint problems, and the accumulated consequences of training loads that consistently exceeded what their connective tissue could adapt to. Isometric training, applied consistently as a supplemental tendon health protocol across a training career, is one of the most evidence-supported strategies available for preventing this outcome. The collagen cross-linking density improvements I described earlier are cumulative. They build year over year in athletes who consistently apply isometric tendon loading. An athlete who has been doing 2 yielding isometric sessions per week for 5 years has fundamentally different tendon tissue than an athlete who has been doing the same dynamic training but no specific tendon loading work. The former has stiffer, denser, more resilient tendons with better force transfer characteristics and significantly lower injury risk. The latter has tendons that may have kept up with muscle strength in their 20s but are increasingly likely to become the limiting factor in their 30s and beyond. The investment in isometric tendon work pays dividends across your entire athletic career. The athletes who train at high levels longest are not stopped by muscle failure. They are stopped by connective tissue. Isometric tendon loading is how you keep the connective tissue ahead of the curve. Common questions and mistakes in isometric programming.
The perfect lunch combo. That first bite of your favorite sub, followed by ice-cold Pepsi. Add a couple of friends, and now that's next level. Suddenly, the laughs get louder, the stories keep flowing, and the food tastes better. Because Pepsi brings out more flavor, more fun, and more of the moment. Food deserves Pepsi. Grab a Pepsi Zero Sugar today.
Ultra running shoes are all about space. The space to go further, to feel better, to do something you never thought possible. And this space starts with Ultra Fit. Unlike traditional running shoes, Ultra Fit gives toes more room to move naturally, so every step is strong, balanced, and comfortable. Whatever you're lacing up for, stay out there with Ultra. Shop now at ultrarunning.com. That's ALTRA running.com.
This episode is brought to you by Facebook. So you were scrolling on Marketplace, and there it was, the bike you'd been searching for. You sent a message, and it turned out the seller was super chatty, kind of funny, and an avid cyclist. The next thing you know, you're in a cycling crew. Well, a community cycling group. The thing about Facebook, you might find more than what you're looking for. From a browse to a bike ride, this summer find more on Facebook.
Pros, find the right flooring for the job in Lowe's newly redesigned flooring showroom. Shop our expanded assortment of trusted brands and get up to 35% off style selections, Stainmaster, and Stainmaster Pet Protect Special Order Carpet. And while you're here, save $100 on the DeWalt 20-volt max 6-amp-hour 2-pack of batteries, now just $179. Get more of what you need faster and save more where it counts from the ground up. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 8/26 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Let me address the most common questions and mistakes I encounter when athletes start implementing isometric protocols, because the gap between understanding the principle and executing it correctly is significant, and the mistakes are consistent enough that I can predict most of them before they happen. The most common question is whether isometric work at a specific joint angle only builds strength at that angle. The answer is partially yes and partially no. Research does show that isometric strength gains are most pronounced within a range of approximately 15 degrees around the trained angle. This is called the joint angle specificity effect. However, the motor unit recruitment improvements that come from maximal isometric effort generalize more broadly to the overall movement pattern. The practical implication is that you should train multiple angles across the movement arc if you want comprehensive strength development, but you should prioritize the specific sticking point angle for the greatest targeted benefit. The most common mistake, which I also covered in episode 1 but want to reinforce here, is insufficient effort during overcoming isometrics. I cannot overstate how important this is. The entire mechanism of benefit from overcoming isometrics depends on maximal intent, on genuinely attempting to move the immovable object with everything you have. Athletes who approach these efforts with moderate effort and call it isometric training are not doing isometric training in the meaningful sense. They are doing a low-demand static hold that will produce some tendon stimulus, but none of the motor unit recruitment benefits that make overcoming isometrics so powerful. Before you begin each overcoming isometric set, I want you to spend 30 seconds psyching yourself up as if you were about to attempt a competition maximum, then push or pull. With that same level of intent, that is what the method requires. Isometrics for elite performance. Here's my final message for this episode. Isometric training is not a trend. It is not a workout hack or a shortcut. It is a physiologically sophisticated training method with decades of research support and decades of use by some of the most successful athletes in the history of strength and combat sports. It works through mechanisms that dynamic training cannot replicate: maximal motor unit recruitment at specific joint angles, sustained tenocyte activation for collagen synthesis, and the development of force production capacity that is independent of movement. These are adaptations that your conventional training is leaving on the table, and the program I gave you today is your roadmap for capturing them. Start with the tendon. Loading protocol in phase 1. Be patient with it. Tendon adaptation is slow, and you will not feel dramatic changes in the first 2 weeks. By week 6, you will begin to notice that your tendons feel more robust, that loads that previously caused discomfort during training feel more manageable, and that your joints feel more stable under heavy loading. By week 12, the contrast pairing sessions will begin to produce performance carryover into your competition lifts that will make the work feel entirely justified. I have seen this program work in powerlifters and wrestlers and rugby players and in recreational athletes who just want to stay strong and healthy for decades. It works because the physiology works. Trust the process. I am Brad Young. Thank you for being here. And I will see you in episode 6.
Close your eyes, exhale, feel your body relax, and let go of whatever you're carrying today.
Well, I'm letting go of the worry that I wouldn't get my new contacts in time for this class. I got them delivered free from 1-800-CONTACTS. Oh my gosh, they're so fast.
And breathe.
Oh, sorry. I almost couldn't breathe when I saw the discount they gave me on my first order. Oh, sorry. Namaste.
Visit 1-800-CONTACTS.com today to save on your first order.
1-800-CONTACTS.
You matched on Hinge, you're vibing. Then her energy completely changes. What do? I'm Raven Smith, and I wrote and read a real love story about this exact sitch. Listen to the free audiobook now.
I'm not giving up. I am selling the building.
The final season of FX's The Bear.
The restaurant is flooded.
Everything's either going to be okay.
No, stop!
Or not.
We are outgunned and we are outmanned, but we have each other.
FX's The Bear, the final season. All episodes now streaming on Disney+.
Ouch. This knee is killing me, but I can't stop training. The marathon is in 2 weeks.
Let's get on ZocDoc and find a doctor to take a look at that for you.
Okay.
Here's a review. Dr. Craddock really takes his time.
No, I don't have time.
What about Dr. Charles? His patients say he can help find a quick fix, and he's in network.
Great, now we're talking. Book it.
Booked. 1 mile down, 19 to go.
Bring it on.
You've got options. Download the ZocDoc app today.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.